Batman Gotham by Gaslight, A League for Justice issue 2, Andy Diggle writing with Leonardo Fernandez on the art. So Lexi's train transformed last issue, although we don't get to that until about halfway in. We have a conversation with the current members of, well, they're not actually formed a league yet, but they're standing around in Batman's blimp having a talk about what's going on. And you know, it's interesting to talk about the Kryptonians, and Martian Manhunter reveals no, it was a planet, and they came to Mars and killed all the Martians to conquer it because their planet was dead. And they were planning on doing the same to Earth, and this all happened thousands of years ago, which is why there's all this Kryptonian stuff to be on Earth. And Superman didn't know any of this, of course, and Martian Manhunter reveals that he knows that because if he had known anything, he'd just try to kill him. But he can tell because of his psychic abilities that, you know, Clark's on the level, and he's got good intentions and all that. So, yeah, that's a big thing to reveal, of course. You know, it sounds like the Amazons might have fought them as well back in the day, and that's what led to them going underground near the core. So yeah, they're really getting into a lot of the kind of the nitty gritty of the lore here. But yeah, Krypton was not full of nice people, by the sounds of it, based on this backstory we're getting.
Yeah, they were colonizing and exploiting planets and then leaving, right? So just coming through. And then there's also an assassin crawling up the blimp, and we get this. We get this almost fake out of them going, Superman going, "Hey, do you hear that?" And you think that they've spotted this assassin that's crawling up, and
the assassin thinks that. The assassin thinks that as well. The eyes, you know, widen as if, oh no, but what he's actually hearing is the train mech down below stomping around. So,
which I love. I love that we get to see the sentence "train mech." Yeah, or the phrase. It's
a thing. So yeah, there's some Lois and Jimmy stuff. Lois says, "I'll distract him so you can get a good photo," and Lex picks her up, and that's when Lois snaps the photo. So that's kind of fun. She's like drilling out Lex, and Clark catches her when she falls. So we basically get our first kind of Justice League-esque action sequence where each of them in turn kind of comes in. We get like a group shot as well, where he's like, oh no, where Lex is like, oh shit. So yeah, you know, we get this sequence, everyone kind of joins in various ways, try to fight them. Interestingly though, Martian Manhunter kind of like links into his brain, and Lex immediately, kind of like he's had the mind training from Inception, where he immediately is like, you're inside my brain, I don't like this. But Jean's looking around his library and seeing some of his secrets and being like, aha, it's a shame that someone so intelligent is like shackled by your monstrous ego, because you'd actually be quite useful otherwise. So yeah, that's
Lex Luthor in a nutshell, right? You could do so much good, but you're such a petty human, you won't. You know, I love that. It's my favorite trait of Lex.
Yeah, but Lex happened to notice that Jean flinched at some fire, so he starts setting him on fire in his mind, which makes Jean freak out. So he's like in the fetal position out in the real world, as Lex tries to burn them for real, and Green Lantern has to like shield him. So, you know, there's some working together, there's protecting each other, there's, you know, some bonding perhaps at play here, which is nice. So I mean, I enjoyed the panels of like Wonder Woman lassos it, for example, on the feet and makes it fall over, and that's like a fun little bit.
Well, I like that, and I like that Batman's up crawling around, you know, on top of it, and that's there's before the Martian Manhunter stuff, Lex is in the cockpit yelling, "Get off, get off, get off!" Right. So I thought that was a fun little humorous piece of it. But I keep forgetting that Green Lantern's Alan Scott, because he looks so much like Green Arrow, right?
Oh,
with the beard and the mustache, and I was like, wait, why is Green Arrow? Wait, no, that's Green Lantern. But yeah, a lot of fun Justice League action here, and I almost wish this is where the break happened, because where this ends, which when we get to it, almost feels like more of a cliffhanger than the cliffhanger that we got originally.
Well, the thing is here is some of the other backstory about why Krypton exploded was because Kryptonians were exploiting this power source, which kind of sounded like he was talking about their version of the Phantom Zone, where it was like, oh, it's like tapping into this like other dimension or whatever, but it eroded the planet. And it sounds like Lex has been using this stuff. Like, he's actually using this to power the mech. Yeah. So it sounds like we're on a bit of a path where people on Earth are going to try and use it. Although Lex launches part of the train like a rocket away from the rest of the body. And then Batman pours some explosive stuff into the train to make it all blow up. So we get a whole like couple of action sequences, and whatnot. But yeah, so yeah, Lex like basically cracks open this power source, and like he starts to glow green, and it's like basically pulling him into what seems to be the Phantom Zone. There's like a sort of bright white flash of light, where everyone can actually shield their eyes from it, and then him and the mech are gone, and it's like, where the hell did he go? And my assumption is that it's this version of the Phantom Zone where this power source comes from. Is probably where he went. But there's a fun little bit here where Alan Scott's like, oh, it's a shame about that local sheriff. He seemed like a nice guy. And then Batman's like, the sheriff, but he's right. And then like it's all in silhouette, and like Superman looks over at him and Batman looks back at him, and then he's like, nothing. Never mind. He's basically realizing he was about to out his secret identity and then chose not to. It was just a nice little moment. So yeah. Oh yeah. So the big ending, the cliffhanger is we go to the Ra's al Ghul and Constantine stuff, which we got a glimpse of before, and they're in the desert. Although it turns out this never used to be a desert, but the sounds of it. But the big reveal is that Ra's and the League, their mission was to keep contained someone in this like fancy crypt. And it turns out that person in that crypt who's now breaking out and is getting more powerful is none other than Zod. And given what we know about what Krypton was doing to Mars and then potentially to Earth, like Zod suddenly feels like he might be quite a threat. Like he really wants to. I mean, he usually wants to take over the world, I guess, anyway. But like in this case, like it's like more like, no, he was sponsored by. Yeah, he was sponsored by the rest of Krypton to do this shit before.
Yes. This is Conqueror Zod, and the dangers of colonialism. Although, and just I also like the twist. What's up?
I was gonna say it's interesting that he looks like the helmet's very Ares, which maybe ties into some of the Wonder Woman backstory here as well.
Yes. But, the full armor. But I do like the twist that the Assassins Guild they weren't originally assassins, they're guardians. So I do like that twist here too.
Also, that disregard everything I said about Lex got the Phantom Zone. I completely forgot he was here at the end. He basically
but he
teleported to this desert next to where Raz and all that are. So he's actually there with Zod at the end. But yeah,
correct. But maybe this is what freed Zod from there, right?
Oh, true.
About him bringing power, he might have, because there is that big white light, and then he transports. So I took that as he went through the Phantom Zone.
Maybe that opened up the door, as it were, and Zod's come sauntering out. No, it's interesting. Yeah, like I said, he's got like an Ares style helmet. And you just see the red eyes inside the darkness. I completely forgot Lex was here at the end, so all my theorizing earlier was a little bit left of nonsense. But anyway, fun issue. I think this was better than last issue, both of which were better than the cliffhanger issue from before. That was definitely the worst issue of the book because it felt a bit weird, like structured to just make it a cliffhanger. I'm enjoying learning more about what's going on. I think the tease of Zod, I like the idea that Raz was tasked with, like, for thousands of years trying to keep this being locked up is kind of an interesting thing.
We also get, I forgot about this till just now. I forget that we're not in Kansas anymore from Lex as he looks up at Zod.
Yes, we do, yes.
That's kind of funny. But yeah, and all the names that they're giving Zod, it really, his reputation precedes him, where they call him like the Herald of Krypton's Bane, the Tyrant of the Martian Genocide, the Scourge of Lost Themyscira. Like you're like, oh man, you're building him up as this ultimate that's usually only reserved for like Darkseid,
Well, they're basically ascribing him to all the things Martian Manhunter was telling us about earlier. He was leading the charge and all of those things he brought up. So it's like, okay, we have context for that now, and he's a big threat. Art-wise, I think all the mech stuff with the train was fun to look at and read, and then there's all that good silhouette stuff with the characters. Like, Batman's in silhouette a lot, for example, even when he's just talking in the blimp with the others. Like, there's a lot of just him in silhouette and being like, vengeance and justice are much closer than you think, and he's saying all sorts of ominous Batman things. So, that's fun. Like, I don't think it's... I think it's like, we've kind of settled into just sort of fun, good Elseworld. rather than like, oh, it's doing something special that's like a must read. But I'm still having a good time with it, and I think it's a nice, pleasant read. So,
yeah, Steampunk Justice League.
Yeah,
it's a fun concept.
What are you rating A League for Justice?
7.5.
Yeah, I think it's just a straight 7 for me. Yeah, it's good. Had a good time. It is what it is.